Hello and welcome to another video analysis. Today I'm going to discuss about the match between India versus Kuwait, the World Cup qualifiers. And after so many years, India has able to register their first away game win against a team in World Cup qualifiers. So let's take a look how was it possible and how exactly India make their first step forward towards the World Cup qualifiers in the upcoming situation. Let's take a look and let's discuss about the formations. Well, as you can clearly see that India started their position as a 4-3-3 formation. But this particular formation used to change with different kind of transitions. Right now, Mahesh Naurem, Sunil Chhetri and Manvir Singh remains at the top spot, which will attack the opponent defense. But these transitions converted into very swift transitions where the two side backs, Akash Mishra and Nikhil Pujari, pushed themselves forward to initiate the wing play in a better way. And while doing it, Apuya used to fall back at the defensive zone and making sure that this kind of transitions he will be working as a pivot, as you can clearly see it over here. And while doing it, Abdul Samad and Ralte will push them forward to initiate the attacks from the midfield zone and creative passes. And inclusion of two side backs to the wing zone actually was benefited multiple times, and being Apuya as a defensive midfielder and creating from the back being a pivoting role was pretty crucial. But that was not always the scenario, because in case of counter attack, when India is being pressed, that transition transfer into 4-5-1 like this precise way, where we can clearly see that only Sunil Chhetri remains at the top spot and remaining all the players fall back to their own positions and creating midfield as a five-man play to completely close them out. Well, Kuwait started off the match in 4-4-2 formation, and from this formations, they transit in an interesting 4-2-2-2 formation, pushing the two side wingers at the forward zone and making sure that their central position remains impacted and properly solid overloaded, and that's why penetrating Kuwait from the central zone was difficult. But on the other hand, when they are being pressed hard enough, they squeezes that place again and getting back to their shape with the 4-4-2 formations once again, like this way. And that's how the Kuwait's formation was. So, how exactly India conquered this conquest? It was a big question. Now, in my pre match analysis, I have told that Kuwait precisely work on the wing positions. They are always so firm to play always from the wing positions. And as they are so much solidified and overloaded in the central area, so attacking Kuwait from the central part is pretty difficult task. It's never gonna happen. So India never ever tried to pass through the system to the central point. So Kuwait used to work on the wing system a lot. They pushed their wingers this forward and tried to game and grab the opportunity from there. And for that, they got the support from their midfield as well. But there is one brilliant tactic that in the first half India has always taken to counter that. That is the presence of their wingers at the midfield zone, like Naurem, Mahesh and Manvir. They always used to fall back to the midfield and the defensive lines to support their teammate. Being Manvir and RM played for two legendary clubs, Mohun Bagan and East Bengal, they are a true gentleman of the game and they always be there for the support, because whenever any particular case they are struggling with the ball inside this area, Manvir, and for the case of ball inside this area, now Mahesh always be there, so that always in these cases they are getting the numerical supremacy from both the wing positions. So initially in the first half it was always a 50-50 battle, because Kuwait never able to produce that much amount of a kick in the match. But on the other hand, if you see that majority amount of the attack comes from the right wing of Indian position, right? Precisely, India attacks the right wing very well using the darting run of Nikhil Pujari from here, and getting the Ralte's support and creating a lot of area of work in this area, and that was the key factors. And eventually some of the cases Sunil Chetri drops off his run to grab the ball inside this zone to get some work over here, and they tried multiple times, and majority amount of work is coming from the right flank of Indian team. But the second half it got completely got changed. Well, in my pre-match analysis, as I've mentioned that when Kuwait are struggling to make a play through their wings, they always go for the long balls. As you can clearly see it over here, like as I mentioned earlier, that Manvir drops back to the mid defense line to support its mid zone. Like here, we can clearly see it how exactly he drops back to that zone to support the team, and that is why his pressing towards the mid zone was actually make Kuwait to go for the long ball and waste their chances. Now, along with the long ball playing transitions, like when Kuwait got stuck, they used to play long ball, and that is one of the weaknesses that Kuwait had. But along with that, they have another problem that they never able to cope up with, which is that when they are getting the press, when they are overpressed by the opponent, when they are moving their transitions to the defensive spot, they create enormous amount of spaces in between. They cannot able to cover up that space, and we have seen that multiple cases India have exploited those. Unfortunately, India did not able to capitalize properly, but there are plenty of spaces between the defense line and the mid line that actually was quite wide open for Kuwait, and that was the reason India could have scored multiple goals in this point as well. Because usually we all know that Apuia was centrally positioned over here and transitions the ball from this point to this point towards Naurem, towards Manvir, and they just keep their run forward and creates enormous spaces. That was another problem from Kuwait's perspective. Now we can see the situation when Naurim received the ball in this position. See the gap between the defense and the midfield of Kuwait team. As I mentioned that Kuwait has a tendency to create a lot of gap in between their mid and defense zone, and already we can see that when India initiated the counter attack, already three floor players are lurking around in between the spaces, which could be deadly, which can be dangerous for any team to have. In the second half, Changte's inclusion to the left wing was a spot on substitute for Igor Stima, because India was struggling to make forward runs from the left flank. Majority of the runs is coming from this way. But initially, that was the bigger issue. But in the second half, Changte was included in the left flank in place of Naurim Mahesh. Now, what would happen that Changte's inclusion to this particular left flank will becomes more and more creative in that zone and more attacking. So India was trying to push forward from the left flank a lot, and that was the key factor in that situation, because when the goal and the build up was started, having a very good side back like Akash Mishra, who was actually moved a lot from this position to here, so that already he could engage this opponent's player already. Now Changte was taking the forward run. As he is trying to take a forward run, the one center back actually tries to cut back its position and move here forwards without knowing that two kind of situations would happen. Now, one thing is pretty much underappreciated, which is Sunil Chetri's run, because Sunil Chetri started his run and the other side, other center back would definitely try to hold back, and due to that reason the right back will be engaged here to give a support. But due to this false run from this towards the box of Sunil Chetri, they never ever know that Manvir was also taking a run in between there, and that run of Manvir between the left back and the center back was a real key factor, because by that time Changte already crossed past the right back and the center back of Kuwait and already crossed the ball towards the situation. And because of that reason, Sunil Chetri engaged the other center back over here. That was the reason Manvir got space in between and started the run in between here and move himself in this position. It all started with Rahul Veke. Rahul Veke grabs the ball from Gurpreet Singh Sandhu and passes it to Akash Mishra. Now, judging by the thread Akash Mishra, without holding the ball, simply passed it to Changte. And Chante already made the run from the behind. As you can clearly see that the right back and the center back is already looking for the run of Chante. Another interesting thing, we can see that as Changte made the run forward, the side back, which is the right back of Kuwait, and one center back already engaged with him. So 2v1 situation over there. Other center back was actually tracking the run of Sunil Chetri. Sunil Chetri made a brilliant move by making a late run to aware about his position so that the center back of Kuwait was tracking his run, but the side back, the left back of Kuwait, was nowhere aware about Manvir's presence. That was a brilliant move by Sunil Chetri by making a late run to make sure that the false runs could be deceptive a lot. Now, as the other centre back tracking Sunil Chetri's run, the left back was completely unaware about Manvir's presence, and Manvir made a brilliant decision by darting through the two gaps between them and getting the ball inside the box and hit it hardly towards the second post and get a goal. And that's how India got the goal, the only goal of the match, and conquered this battle. If you do like this match analysis, then please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching the video. See you in the next video.